Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Love's gas station in Cana, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast that makes ancient wisdom relevant today. I'm your host, Raghunath, with co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastubadas. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1368. Here with Mara, parked in the Ford F-150. We're trying to hold it together. We've had blackouts going on all night. You know, there was this, we get these microbursts where it just pours rain, Kastuba, pours lightnings. It's almost like the Samvartika cloud of Govardhan Hill, or the end of the destruction of the universe. And then it goes away. And then it's like, oh, it's perfectly fine out. And then it goes again. It had like 4 of them in a row. And finally it took out the electricity. So here we are. Huh?
Microburst. I never heard of that before.
Microburst. It's a thing. So anyway,
how does it take out the
gas
electricity? Like, why does electricity?
Yeah, I don't know.
There were a lot of downed wires. There were a lot of down power.
Yeah, there's a lot of down power. I mean, it was super windy. That was like a little tornado. What do they call those? A dust buster?
Maybe.
What do they call? Dust devils.
Dust
devils, but in the, which is like a micro.
Dust devils. All kind of things going on up there.
You got a meteorologist.
I tell you, bad things happen when you leave the city.
So yeah, that's where we're at today. It's like the old days. Remember the old days? It seems like we were always at Love's.
No.
Oh, you know why? Because we had just worse internet back then.
Yeah.
Well, here we are at Love's gas station, and
loving
loving it. And it's Walk on Wednesday, everybody. Walk on Wednesday is the day we bring a guest on, usually part of our community that we think is doing something cool. And today, before we bring her on, we got any announcements, Ms. Mara?
Yeah, we do. We're back to your recovery group meetings. There's a men's meeting at 10:30 and a step meeting at 1:30 today Eastern time. And then also this weekend, no show on Saturday, but we'll do our Q&A on Sunday at 8:30.
And I believe part 10 of the series that I was doing drops today, which was the course that I gave in January.
So you can join our online community platform to find the next part of Kastuba's course.
Get all that stuff.
Go to wisdomofthesages.com to subscribe today.
There you go. All right, let's bring on Danya. She's no stranger to Wisdom of the Sages. Haribo, Danya.
Haribo, guys.
Danya is like really appreciated by our listeners. That you get tons of great feedback. Everybody's always saying how much
everybody loves Danya. That's all we hear.
It's a bit too much, actually.
It's like
driving us crazy.
Just have Danya do
your own
it.
Podcast.
That's the plan. Danya, great to have you. And you're where are you? Sweden?
We are in Sweden in a place called Divinia, which it's actually called that. I thought they called it that because there's a retreat center here, but it's actually a place called Divinia, and it's gorgeous here.
You're doing a kirtan retreat or a kirtan festival or yoga festival?
Yeah, it's kirtan and yoga festival, and we're here with Gauravani and also Vish. So it's a little almost complete Mayapuri's reunion, and everybody's families are out here. Brenda's out here with her kids. Brenda's out here with her kids. So it's like a really nice big family reunion out.
You guys know how to do it, you know? You got the family, you bring them along. They're in Mayapur here, they're in Sweden there. Everyone's getting together.
Yeah, it's like the modern day Krishna conscious Partridge family. You get in the bus and you just go on tour.
That's right. We're training them up to be our support musicians, so we don't have to hire anybody else to do it.
You know what? It's like the old days when kids, they worked on the farm, you know, or the carpenter has the son training up or daughter training.
Totally.
You're doing it now. That's impressive.
Totally.
Well, guess what? We're going to do it on Labor Day. You guys are coming up, Bali and Danya, both incredible kirtan leaders in their own right. We do our annual chant camp at Super Soul Farm. It's August 30th to September 2nd. And it was such a packed, wonderful, sweet, grounded, down-to-earth program last year. We were like, let's do the exact same thing this year. Do you want to explain what we did last year, Danya?
Yeah, it was, I actually just remembered it was Janmashtami last year. Remember that? We did like a big
Oh yeah.
Janmashtami festival and we had a super rocking kirtan. That was awesome. Yeah, it was super nice. Everybody who came was just like it was so special to share. I mean, we just did kirtan every day, talked about kirtan, kind of diving deep into the culture of kirtan, the etiquette, how to lead a kirtan and how to meditate properly on the holy name while singing as a participant, but then also as a facilitator. Bali was giving Mridanga workshops and Kartal workshops so that people can get really familiar with technique and, flow. And it's really special. Bali's like he's such an incredible musician, but he's also an incredible teacher. So to have that one-on-one time with him where he can really
Yeah.
sit down with you and kind of walk you through how to play and how to transition from one beat to the next in kirtan. So it's kind of an all levels thing from people who are like super beginners all the way to people that are like, pretty advanced and comfortable leading kirtan, just wanting to, push to excellence in their kirtan practice, but also the internal, we were talking before about how great everybody's questions were. We had a lot of Q&As where it's just kind of we open the floor to what everybody is thinking or feeling or questions they may have about what's going on during kirtan, and then we were all kind of teaching from there, and I think it was really nice. Yeah, as soon as it was done, all three of us were like, okay, next year. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're basically either just having kirtan or talking about kirtan.
Right.
I think we did a little yoga in the morning as well, just a little bit,
Right.
to move our bodies around so we wouldn't get a little lethargic. And it was very beautiful out, so we took some times in nature as well. But anyway, if you're interested in that, it's a great way to wind down the year before school starts for your kids. And it's sort of like the end of summertime, August 30th through September 2nd. And how do you register for that, Mara? Is it Wisdom of the Sages 108 at Gmail, or is it Super Soul Trainings? How do you do that?
Either one will work.
Either one will work. She gets
Yes.
them both.
Yeah.
Wisdom of the Sages 108 at gmail.com. Just put Chant Camp. There is limited space, and there's some private rooms as well. So if you're interested on that, otherwise, and if you haven't visited Super Soul Farm, it's one of our big retreats that people like to come to. And to have Bali and Dunya there with me is extra special fun for me, as well as just good association. We're looking forward to it.
And Kostuba was supposed to come last year.
He
Was he?
He'll
was.
come this year.
Come
What
on.
happens?
Come on up.
I gotta say no to things now. I gotta.
What?
Or you got to say yes.
I would love to.
Or you got to say yes.
I'm just working
Maybe-
on this book, Danya. Otherwise, I'd love to be with you guys, but I just got, every day there's always these opportunities, and if I keep moving around, I can't get it done.
We'll make sure you get some writing time.
Yeah, you get some writing
All
time.
right, you never know. I'm
You
not,
can
I'm not
skip
gonna
the
rule it out.
Mridanga
Think about it, you're
workshop.
cooking for yourself over there. All the meals will be taken care of,
That's true. That's true.
right?
All right, I'll leave the door open. Let's see.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
All right, great. Dunya,
Where am I going
have
to
a-
stay there, Raghu? Where are you going to put me?
I got a special, really nice mattress that the dog sleeps on. I think you're gonna.
The dog drools on all day.
I got a special room for you, Baba.
We'll put it under the car.
You and me sleep under the stars on the yoga platform. That's
Or
what we're
maybe
gonna
I
do.
get that thing again. That, what do you call that?
the Airstream.
Airstream.
Oh, that's right. That you were the first person to stay in the Airstream.
Yeah.
Lori and the Chief are staying there this time. Yeah. All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you, Dunya. Have fun at the Kirtan Festival. Tell the crew I said Harry Bowl, Gore and his
Yeah, we
family,
will.
and Vish and his family, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and tell that resident guru, whoever's running that place, I said Harry Bowl too.
I will. Yeah, we'll all be here with even more family next year.
Ask him what it takes to be a resident guru. I'm trying to change career paths. See if they need a resident
ask him.
guru, like,
I'll ask
or I could
him.
fill in for him when he's not around.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a great job. Like
Visiting guru.
substitute resident guru.
Substitute. The guru's not feeling well, so we brought in Ray Capo from New York City.
He's on vacation.
All right, thank you, Dunya. Have a great day.
Thank
It's a beautiful day, but beautiful day.
Haribo.
Let the magic continue to flow.
Oh, we're
Goodbye-
we're still
goodbye,
going here.
Dunya, we love her.
She's an amazing person.
Oh, she's still there. Shh.
All right, you ready, Raghunath?
Yes. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan, Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, the Srila Vyasadeva of the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmidadam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 13, Text 7.
All right. Now, what's going on?
Get it here.
Okay.
Are you? We we're hot spotted.
I mean, what's going on in the Bhagavatam?
Oh, what's going on in the Bhagavatam? I have no idea. Talking about sannyasis, what they shouldn't do, how they dress.
Yeah,
we talk about what they don't talk about. How they walk.
We also heard about the realizations yesterday, right? The mood and the insights that they were cultivating.
Yeah.
Which was what all these regulations are meant for. And that was to see Krishna pervading everything and to become very peaceful in mind, to become the friend of everyone, to find your happiness within. But now we're going to go back, flick the switch and go a little bit back to what they're not supposed to do so that they can have that kind of peaceful mind. And you know, we should keep in mind that these are instructions meant for sannyasis, right? The final stage of life, you wander away from home. You've done all your social responsibilities. So I don't want to hear any arguments about, well, what about being socially responsible? They've done that their whole life, right? And this is socially responsible because we need some people wandering around with heads that are totally clear, that can tell us some stories and give us some perspective, you know? So
sing us a little song. Sing us a little kirtan.
Sing a little song.
Sing a little song. Tell some stories.
It doesn't have to exactly be the Partridge Family, okay? But, what was that? We travel along singing a song. What do they say? But
traveling along together, spread a little love in it. Something's always happen whenever we're together. No one even knows this anymore.
Feeling happy when we're singing a song. Okay, it's not exactly that, but here's more what they need not to do. And here's another point I want to make, Raghu. Is that yes, this is for a sannyasi, and no, we're not all meant to exactly follow these regulations, but a lot of them do apply, or we have to take the essence of them and apply them in a way that's appropriate in our stage of life. Right.
Yeah, there's some basic archetypes out there, but it may not be your life exactly. We're taking the essence. We hear from it. Yeah. We hear, oh, that's the archetype. How can I apply this to my life?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go into text 7. Right?
Text 7. Literature
that is useless waste of time. Anyone know what type of literature that is?
There's plenty of it out there.
There's plenty of it out there. Literature, right? Because sometimes people just say, read. Just read.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to just
read a lot.
Reading is good for you. Reading is fundamental. That was a phrase they always pushed.
I remember that.
Reading is fundamental.
Reading is mental.
Yeah. Reading can be tamasic.
Yeah, Rajasic, Tamasic.
Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic.
Okay. Literature.
And transcendental. Literature that is useless waste of time. In other words, literature without spiritual benefit should be rejected. One should not become a professional teacher as a means of earning a livelihood. Oh, no. I hope no one's out there listening as a teacher.
Well, again, this is for sannyasis.
Oh, okay. A professional, meaning a spiritual teacher professional.
Well, we'll get into it. Actually, it doesn't say teacher in the verse. Prabhupada's kind of adding that in there because I think he's thinking that a sannyasi might be prone to that.
Okay. nor should one indulge in arguments and counter arguments.
Point, counterpoint.
It's almost like more relevant today than it is previously.
Could be.
'Cause now all I have to do is get online and get sucked in that whirlpool of arguing with people on Facebook, even among spiritualists. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Facebook is over. It's dead.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Go back and forth with people. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's what you just said, right? Why don't you finish the verse and we'll.
Okay. No one should take shelter of any cause or faction.
Nor should one.
Nor should one take shelter of any
Shelter.
cause or faction.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. So 3 things here are mentioned that the sannyasi should not engage in. Right. These are things my time left in this life has worn down to a narrow window. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm very focused now. All my social responsibilities have been met. My kids are raised. My wife's been taken care of. My whatever I was trying to do something good for the world through my occupation. Maybe I was a doctor and I gave my life to caring for the health of others. Maybe whatever that occupation was, I contributed to society, and society has collectively given me the green light, to say, okay, now you go for it, right? Now you start really, a lot of our practice in this world spiritually, it means we need to have one foot in the spiritual realm. I need to be thinking of my fundamental nature, my eternal spiritual nature, what's beyond all of this temporary game that we're living in. But I've also had one foot in the temporary game, and I've been responsible and in that realm. Now we're saying start to take that foot out of the temporary realm and start to situate your consciousness deeply in the eternal realm. Start to let go of things. And here's what's going to help you do that. Just stop reading stuff that's, books that are on I'm going to read you the Sanskrit terms for all 3 things that he said, Raghunath, okay?
Okay. What are the...
Because I think they're somewhat revealing. And I think there's a poetic thing. I really wish we had a Sanskrit correspondent with us on the daily.
Maybe that's your calling. Maybe you should start studying Sanskrit.
It takes 12 years to really get it down. And how many do I got left?
You don't have many, probably.
Yeah. Okay. But first it says...
Neither do I. I might have less than you.
It could go either way.
Isn't it interesting? One of us are going to die first.
Your mother's like 97, so that's a good sign.
But I don't think we go by our mother's side, do we? With death?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you've already lived much longer than your father, so it seems like you're...
No, I haven't. My father died at 64. His father died at 60.
Oh, that's right, because you're such a big family and you're one of the youngest kids.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, first one is asat shastreshu.
Okay. Temporary literature.
Yeah, you could say untrue or...
Asat.
But I also like to look at it that way. Any books, shastras, any books on the impermanent subjects, the asat, right? Sat means...
They could even be good books, but now at this phase of your life, especially at this season of your life, now drill in to the eternal truths.
Okay. Then and we could go on and on about that, but I think the third one is the one that we probably should fluff out the most. But then the next one was it says napo jiveta jivikam. Napa jiveta jivakam. Now Prabhupada added this thing about he said earning a living as a teacher, because I think it might be natural that a sannyasi go that route. Mm-hmm. But really, if I'm understanding this correctly, like jiva, is referring to life. Napa jiveta jivakam. Don't live by making a living. I think if I understand it right, that's what it's saying. Don't live by making a living. Like, in other words, don't maintain yourself by an occupation anymore. How are you going to get fed? How are you going to find shelter? That is going to come to you. And we're about to hear this story. We're about to break into the story about the Python man, to illustrate all this. So that's also, you know, making a living in this world, going out, finding an employer, starting a business, doing all these different things. Even being a teacher, taking tons of students, taking on all of their, you know, by taking them on as your student, you take on responsibility, you take on a lot of their energy. Maybe you've done that already in your life. Now you're gonna not even worry about any of that.
You know, and there is that final stage of sannyas where they give up the students and the ashrams and they leave even that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Now the third one. This is where I think I've seen the poet. It's like jiveta jivakam. Don't make a living. Don't live by making a living. And the next one is vada vadams. Vada means like a yeah.
Dahivada.
Huh?
Dahivada.
I think that's vada, not vada.
It's different.
It's breakfast time. Mine's going. Anyone that doesn't know, what is a vada or a vada?
What?
Like a little savory donut kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Indian savory donut.
South Indian delight.
Oh, they're so good when they're made right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Continue on.
Vada. So vada means like a thesis or a proposition or an argument or a doctrine. Maya vada, you know. And so vada vadams, again, this is just me trying to extrapolate with my lack of Sanskrit grammar, but I think it may be saying like, don't be an arguer of arguments. Right. So you had the jive to jivakam, you got the vada vadams. That we shouldn't be caught up in the tendency. There's a tendency in us, sometimes the most intelligent people.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. Because the intelligence can manifest as your ego as well, too. So if you have a great intelligence, just like if you have great looks or if you have great wealth, that manifests in your ego. Great intelligence also.
Yeah.
And we see this in all circles. Doesn't have to be political circles. Doesn't have to be, you know, within what subgenre of hobby you're in, like mixed martial arts or art or music critics. But you see it where we least think we'd see it, which is spiritual circles. And they argue over like some technical detail, raging arguments, like offending others in the process, like missing the forest from the trees. Like, so I'm always shocked by it. And if you look at it, and because this happens now on Facebook or on comments of sometimes of YouTube lectures or something like that, or you want to get sucked into it and you just can't go there. You just can't go there because you risk making an offense also. And oftentimes it's not the platform to have a philosophical discussion anyway on social media.
And I think even, of course, offending others is real important. But part of what's so problematic about offending others, or even if you do it in a way that's not exactly offending another, but the way that it absorbs your mind, the loops that it'll put your mind through, there's no point. It's like it's taking all of it's sucking your energy, it's sucking your battery of like spiritual focus in a big time way, right? Like powerful, it can do it in such a powerful way. So it's the argumentative attitude that one really has to guard against. Prabhupada shares this in the commentary. He says, one should not concern oneself with the conclusions of various logicians and philosophers. Of course, so now Prabhupada's going to say, of course, those who preach, you know, like there's something good to do about sharing the teachings of bhakti. It's a philosophy. It counters other philosophies, and other philosophies attempt to counter it. So Prabhupada, he's saying there's, of course, for those who preach, sometimes they need to argue with the contentions of opponents. But as much as possible, one should avoid the argumentative attitude.
It's also sharpening when you're like debating someone on spiritual topics, like you're debating an atheist or an agnostic or something. First of all, it doesn't have to be a debate. It can be a discussion. Second of all, it sharpens your spiritual intelligence and it helps you understand the difference between spirit and matter. And sometimes I remember as a new devotee, sometimes you'd meet someone who's a little bit more intelligent than you. and they bring up a point like, oh, I never thought about that. That's actually a good point. And then you'd bring that back to someone who has a little bit better understanding of the philosophy, and you're like, now I get that. Because I think it's important in our early stages of bhakti is to debate and to argue, just to play around and feel this philosophy out. Can it test the pressure that the world will put on it and your own doubts will put on it? We have to get rid of all our doubts by going through every like little nook and cranny of the philosophy. And there's certain things that you might have enough faith in that you'll say, you know what, I don't get this, but I'm going to put it on hold for now because I do get the substantial amount of it. This is making me move forward in small steps forward. So,
you know, Raghunath, what you're saying right now is you're thinking like David Hume.
I am.
Yes.
I am.
Who says truth springs from argument amongst friends.
Ooh.
Right? There's argument without the argumentative attitude, right? It's like we're not trying to tear each other down, but we're taking an idea and it kind of, as you say, we're testing it together, right?
Well, it's a beautiful word how he put friends, because oftentimes you'll see these YouTube clips of Ben Shapiro crushes woke student. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like we don't want. It's like we're not trying to. Devotees used to relish like that. Like he blasted him. That the sannyasi blasted him. It's like we don't want to blast people. We don't want to crush them. We want them to, when they walk away from it, that we want to be like, I feel enlightened now. And there's a delicate way to do that where you can actually win the debate, so to speak, but empower the other person. And that comes from deep humility.
You are thinking like Sidney J. Harris.
What? Sidney J. Harris?
Yes. Because Sidney J. Harris, who I have no idea who it is, says, now get this, you ready?
I'm so ready for Sidney.
The most important thing in an argument, next to being right, is to leave an escape hatch for your opponent so that he can gracefully swing over to your side without too much apparent loss of faith.
Sure.
Interesting, right? It's arguing without the argumentative attitude.
Yeah.
But you know what you say, Raghunath, is funny because sometimes I'll click on one of those, you know, like Ben Shapiro crushes woke student or something.
Demolishes woke student. And sometimes he does demolish them.
But you know, this is the thing.
But does that person change? Did that person be like, that touched my heart?
But even so, sometimes I actually see nobody got crushed at all. Like that was a really good conversation. It's like whoever made the thumbnail and the title just is putting the clickbait there because they think that that's what people want. Even they got something better than that. And you didn't advertise it that way because, you know, people have minds where they just want to see people
Shapiro had an intelligent conversation.
And there's some nice back and forth.
With a nice back.
Nobody wants to click on that.
That's boring. I want to hear someone get crushed.
Now, okay, Raghunath, Caitanya Charitamrita, the biography of Sri Caitanya, that also lays out in such. I've been, you know, I've recently been listening to some Audible books or one book.
Punk to Monk.
That's down the road, Raghunath. That one's
got it. Download it.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. Okay.
Is that free or you got to pay for it on Audible?
It was a gift.
Okay,
but
so you got to pay for it.
I don't know if you have to pay for it or not. Honestly, I don't know.
I'm interested.
Maybe
I listen to that on YouTube. I listen to it on YouTube and I listen to Chaitanya Bhagavat on YouTube all the time. And because I got YouTube Premium, I download it so I can listen to Caitanya Bhagavat all the time now.
Raghunath, it is so good, and even
you
can listen to while you're riding the bike because it's not like listening to music and you can't hear anything. It's like
okay. That's all. You just go. I won't say anything.
So I'm listening to Chaitanya Charitamrita all the time. Now Adi Leela gets into a lot of technical stuff.
I know it's too. Truthfully, Adi Leela is too much for me.
No, but Raghunath, go back again. Go back again. When a long time ago as a brahmachari, it was like 1994 2 or something like that. I read the entire Caitanya Charitamrita in a summer, right? I was living in this cabin, going out and doing my service in the mornings, and I'd have a lot of time to read. I read the whole Caitanya Charitamrita, which is 17 volumes, you know.
Back when
I
you
don't
had to carry books around with you.
but I don't think I've read it through since then. You know, I've certainly read from it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but going through it now, and you know, like you ever see those memes where like they show that comedian with the big beard, Zach Galifianakis?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce his
I
name.
don't know either.
There's like this meme where it's like him and he's thinking and like all like the calculations are like around his head, you know, like that. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Yes.
I'm hearing Adi Leela in Prabhupada's commentaries, and it's like all this stuff is just exploding in my head. It's
Like
so
it's making more sense now.
everything is making perfect sense, and the depth and the brilliance of Srila Prabhupada, and it's really the brilliance of Srila Prabhupada presenting the brilliance of the 6 Goswamis and of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It's how these brilliant thinkers presented Vedanta is just so masterful.
Yeah. So you're saying that at this season of your life, what
Yeah.
you read, 30 years ago, it was just too hard to digest, even though you read it and you had faith in it. You went forward with your
It
life.
was feeding
but
me
you sort of
something
put
then. It was
Yeah.
for sure, absolutely. But it's
But now
like
it's making more sense. I mean, there
now
are books.
yeah.
There are books that I've read 30 years ago. I was like, you know what? I don't get this one. I'm just going to put it on the shelf. There are books like that.
So,
And I got a feeling if I go back to read them now, they'll be a whole different thing.
That's exactly what's
Yeah.
happening right now. And it's like a lot of times Srila Prabhupada's alluding to something. Oh, I know exactly what he's alluding to now, and everything's fitting together, you know? So like before I was understanding it and getting my foundation. Now I feel like I'm understanding on a whole nother level, and it's given me the ability to maybe to explain it more deeply.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an argument in the Caitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela,
Okay.
very important argument, wherein the dynamics that we're discussing here really play out, and that's the argument between Sri Chaitanya and the Mayavadi sannyasis in Varanasi, headed up by Prakashananda Saraswati. And you know, Raghunath, what you're saying is so true, because about sometimes we see bhakti yogis get really caught up in this. People like take Srila Prabhupada, very multifaceted person, Bhaktivedanta Swami, right?
Yeah.
He's got many sides to him. He's got the heart as a thunderbolt side. He's got the soft as a rose side. He's got the super conservative side. He's got the very liberal side. You know, I spoke on this Hindu panel yesterday at this
How'd that go?
theological. It was wonderful. I had a great time and great
Yeah.
people. 25 teachers, K through 12, most of them high school teachers, who are presenting religion, in their
High school?
classrooms.
Really?
Huh?
In
Yeah,
high
and
school?
most of them are high school, but it's open to K through 12 teachers.
Okay.
And they come for a 3-week interfaith immersion. They come to New York City from all over the country, and they come for an interfaith immersion, and they take them to different temples and churches and synagogues and et cetera, mosques, and they bring in different panels and different speakers to present all the different world religions.
Were they
And so-
receptive?
Oh, they're great. I mean, it's an interfaith thing, so people are coming with a certain openness.
Open mind. Did you get paid?
I did get paid.
All right. We got paid to be a
Good thing I'm
teacher,
not a
sir.
sannyasi. Good thing I'm
You
not a
got paid to be a
sannyasi.
teacher. Oh, that you're not a sannyasi.
I would have
Okay,
done
that
it
makes
if
sense.
I would have done it if I didn't get paid.
No, I know you would have, but
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, sannyasi, that's that time of life, I guess.
And a sannyasi might accept that donation, but they're not getting. They're not. And then they would maybe even give it away. Or whatever. But in any case.
Okay, you can give it away to me.
You're supposed to be given to the sannyasi. Okay. So why did I bring that up? What were we talking about? Oh my
Mara?
God, we're going. Mara, help.
Help, Mara, help.
We just said something.
Said something.
Understanding things. The conversation between the sannyasis and I forgot the point now. Lost the thread. lost the thread.
Some
It'll
honest-
come back up. It'll come back up. Let me go
Okay.
back to this conversation with the Mayavadi sannyasis. It's such a fascinating conversation. Oh, okay. It all came back, Raghunath.
Okay, good.
So we were talking about Prabhupada's a multifaceted person. He's got this conservative side. Prabhupada often speaks on the level of promoting traditional gender roles. He definitely does that, right?
Sure.
And that's the kind of thing that like a lot of people don't even want to hear that. Like even you begin to talk like that, you've been rejected, and I don't even want to hear anything else you have to say.
Yeah.
But we also saw in Prabhupada's life, he kind of broke gender roles and broke Hindu tradition, or expanded it, or whatever you want to say. Because one person asked, and there's a whole panel of Hindu people. One person asked, are there any Hindu groups where women are allowed to become priests? And right down the road, no, 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 no. And they were saying, but they can do this and they can do that. But when it came to me, I said, Srila Prabhupada, when he brought the teachings of Bhaktivedanta to the Western world, and not only, I said, your question could be made more broad. The question is not just, can women be brahmanas? Can people not born in Hindu families be brahmanas? Can people not born in Brahmana families become brahmanas? All of those are controversial subjects within the Hindu tradition.
Mm.
Prabhupada broke them all, or if you want to call it broke. He went to the sacred text and found that these traditions are not essential. And actually that it teaches something far more essential, that these things are based on someone's merit, based on one's qualities, based on one's behavior.
And
so
traditions are meant to serve a higher purpose.
Sure.
That's why we have traditions.
But my point was, apparently Prabhupada is so conservative, but I was the only one sitting there saying, yes, in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada gave Brahman initiation. He ordained women priests, which is, other groups. So Prabhupada, on one sense, he's very conservative. On another sense, he's radical, So, but what I wanted to say was, according to our mindsets, we appreciate different facets of Srila Prabhupada. Some people, what they love about Prabhupada is his abrasive, attacking, argumentative side. They take a thrill in that, and almost like that's all they see. It's like that was kind of like a small part of what he was, but like there's so much more of who Srila Prabhupada was and how he dealt with people. And in this conversation with Sri Caitanya, when he's speaking to these sannyasis, the Mayavadi sannyasis, in one sense, this is the greatest philosophical opponent of Krishna Bhakti, right? And it's a debate that's been going on for centuries. But when Sri Caitanya, and then we get Krishna himself to come and demonstrate how to deal with it. And when Sri Caitanya spoke to the Mayavadi sannyasis, he was not argumentative at all. He was practically, the Mayavadis had to pull out of him, why do you do the things you do? Right? He didn't walk in there and bust up their meeting and say, you're all a bunch of idiots. And, he just did his kirtan, and they're like, you're a sannyasi, but you don't come and study the Vedanta Sutras with us, and you sing these songs dancing like you're a sentimental materialist. We don't get it. And then he began to speak, and he spoke to them with sweet words, and he spoke to them with humility. My guru called me a fool. What do I know? But he explained Vedanta to me in this way. And they all became so touched by the way that he spoke. And I was hearing this through the Caitanya Charitamrita, through hearing this audible Caitanya Charitamrita. Now, I just wanted to draw our attention to one point of that. And there's a verse, Adi Lila, Caitanya Charitamrita, chapter 7, text 99. It says that after hearing Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Mayavadi sannyasis were moved. Their minds were changed, and thus they spoke with pleasing words. This is where argument is meant to go, right? Like someone can actually change. Right? Usually nobody changes. Even if the woke student gets smashed, it walks away unchanged, in a large part because of the way that it was done.
Sure.
because the person was out to smash them, out to crush them. But in the commentary to this, Prabhupada writes, and this is something we can take to heart. He says, the original purpose of the Mayavadi sannyasis of Benares, or Varanasi, in meeting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to defeat his personal conception of God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, as a preacher, turned the minds of the Mayavadi sannyasis. They were melted by the sweet words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus became friendly and spoke to him also in sweet words. Now Prabhupada is going to bring this home. He's going to say, similarly, all preachers will have to meet opponents, but they should not make them more inimical. They are already enemies. Here he meant enemies of Krishna, right? They were enemies of the conception that God has a personal form. They were already enemies, and if we talk with them harshly or impolitely, their enmity will merely increase. We should therefore follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
We saw this happen with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. We saw this happen with the Digvijay. You know, these people are coming
again
at
and
him.
again.
I'm going to educate you.
Right.
And how did he do it? He sat with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, said nothing. Just
yeah,
listen.
7 days, didn't
Just
say a word.
listen to him. And then he said, well, don't you get this? Why aren't you asking any questions? He goes, and very gently and very sweetly dissected everything and said it back to him.
Yeah. And same thing with the Digvijay Pandit,
he says,
Keshava Kashmiri.
He just said, well, I don't know anything. I'm just a child. Just you please
glorify Mother Ganga.
Glorify Mother Ganga. And he whipped off 100 verses glorifying Mother Ganga. Everyone was shocked. And Lord Chaitanya, with his genius, listened to all 100 verses, picked out the tiny little faults.
But glorified the larger thing, right?
Yeah, and in a very humble way, just said, "What? That was incredible. We were all so impressed, but you did screw up here." And he, like, the fact that he could remember the little detailed mess up by the Digvijay, it was like it made the Digvijay realize this person's actually brilliant. I'm actually defeated. The fact that he could remember a nuanced detail of 100 verses that just came out of my mouth and correct him and show where he was off.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
He didn't embarrass him. I mean, he felt embarrassed.
No, he said, come back tomorrow. You had a hard day. Please come back tomorrow.
He had a hard day. Okay.
It's not you. It's...
All right. You know what this reminds me of? I've read these before, but I think it's important because, again, we need to guard against this argumentative attitude, right? There's nothing wrong in the exchange of ideas and putting ideas to the test through argument, right? But it's the argumentative attitude that's going to suck our battery away and not allow our mind to have the space that it needs.
I think this might be Krishna directly talking to you today.
Okay. I think he's talking to you.
Don't argue. Don't argue with what I just said.
Okay. So these are they're called the 4 steps to arguing intelligently from Daniel C. Dennett.
Okay, what you got?
Daniel Dennett, philosopher Daniel Dennett. I think he's like a contemporary philosopher, somewhat contemporary. So how to compose a successful critical commentary, right? How to argue with someone. And this is the one that I think is maybe most important. It's so good. You should attempt to re-express your target's position so clearly, vividly, and fairly that your target says, "Thanks. I wish I thought of putting it that way." This is how this is how 2 people have a constructive argument, right?
Huh.
A lot of these arguments, they're not even trying to defeat the person's point. They're just trying to defeat the person.
Sure.
And so they're straw man arguments. They're never getting to the central point that's being argued. But let me express to you your belief and illustrate to you that I've understood exactly what it is that you're arguing for. If we each just did that, we would understand each other so much better. You know, and that's going to require Something that we don't always like to do, listening. Like actually
Listening.
really listening.
Not using name calling.
Yeah, asking some questions that aren't hostile, but are meant to help deepen your understanding of the position that they hold. So you should attempt to re-express your target's position so clearly and vividly and fairly, that your target says, thank you. I wish I was able to explain it as well as you just did.
Yeah.
Okay. You should list any points of agreement, especially if they are not matters of general or widespread agreement. Okay, this is what we agree on. We're standing on the same ground as far as this goes and that goes and this other thing. Our only disagreement is on this point. All right. You should mention anything that you have learned from your target. Okay, I didn't know that that's what you believed before. That's, you know what, that makes things more clear now, exactly what we're talking about. And only then are you permitted to say so much as a word of rebuttal or criticism. Interesting, right? Like that?
I like it.
All right.
All right. Continuing
Okay,
on.
Yeah, so we got three things in that verse that we're not getting our minds caught up in impermanent subject books just nonsense. And for us, it means more than books nowadays, right? It's a lot more out there.
Yeah. Oftentimes more than not, it's other types of media that we're downloading into our brain.
We don't have the patience for books
We don't
anymore.
have patience for books.
Okay.
We're going to look back at a time when, wow, people used to read books.
All right. And then the sannyasi is not making a living by making a living. And he's also not becoming an arguer of arguments. Next text.
Text 8. The sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather disciples.
All right.
Nor should he unnecessarily read many books or give discourses as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Right.
So three more things, right?
Three more things.
Alluring disciples. Must not present allurements for material benefits to gather many disciples.
You can get riches.
Yeah.
This is something you see in India a lot. You can make things appear out of your hands.
Prabhupada talks about this, make a little gold appear, things like that.
Gold?
Or I suppose there are all kind of allurements. And for the sannyasi in India, they're shown such respect that it's not too difficult, maybe, to kind of get your following.
Yeah.
Sannyasi's not interested in that. I'm not trying to squeeze some enjoyment about being seen as the big lead spiritual leader. No interest in that. Unnecessarily read many books or give discourses. The truth is simple, right? We don't need to. I saw an interview recently. It was a devotee. They had some brilliant insights. Some really brilliant insights. But I also felt that they were trying to impress the audience by how much they knew. And it kind of just, for me, it was just kind of like taking the essential thing that this person really had to offer. It was almost like I had to dig through a lot of stuff to get it. I could have easily not listened to the whole thing just because it's like, why are you trying to impress me? I was just feeling like that.
Who was it? Come on, tell me. Tell me privately.
And it was, Rupa Goswami says we shouldn't read too many books, right? It's
explain what that means. It means like, what? Why not? Seems like we should be reading a lot of books.
Because, well, like for us, we see that great acharyas, like there's so, within this tradition, the tradition of Vedanta, there is a mountain of literature to read out there, and that are, explaining the different nuances of it and debating the nuances of it. We feel fortunate that we've had excellent predecessors who have taken it all and boiled it down for us to the essential information that we need. And that essential information will nourish you like crazy, and it'll give you the ability to do what the books are meant to help you do, is practice it, right? To actually develop that peaceful mind, to actually become the friend of everyone, to actually feel the presence of God in your own heart and see God pervading everything. That's what we need to do. And reading a billion books isn't going to help that. Reading one book could help us do that, you know. So we all have different services and different aptitudes and different tendencies, but guard against just reading like crazy. We're reading for a purpose. Don't lose the purpose. Don't, you know, keep the main thing the main thing. Right?
The
Or as you
Bhagavatam is
said,
the main
Rick,
thing. There's a lot of great spiritual books out there. The Bhagavatam is the main thing.
yeah. What was that? What you said it differently. To keep the main thing the main thing. You had a new one for
What did I
that.
say? Don't major in minor things.
There you go. Don't major in minor things. Exactly.
Boom. You like
And,
that road rage? You keep it. Road rage is
You keep it,
smile
baby.
unlike anything. Oh yeah, you keep that road rage. You use that one.
All right. And so that's important. And then you know, there's a word here, Sanskrit word for the third one, arambhan. Arambhan. Prabhupada translates it, or kind of like, what's the word that you use? He kind of teases it out as saying, oh, by the way, we skipped an important part of the last one. Not taking shelter of any cause or faction. Oh, yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah, okay. Write a book on that one. But he said he must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. Okay. And I think it was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He mentions like this means taking up big projects. And in the commentary, I think Prabhupada says, you know, especially for the sannyasi, this is like creating huge temples and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Becoming the resident guru.
Come on.
So you know what? You're a sannyasi. You may have done those kind of things previously in your life, and now you're minimizing everything. It's all going internal. We need people that are wandering around, that have minds really clear, free from the anxieties, free from the pressures, free from the distractions that running a big project is going to create in the mind. Okay, next one.
A peaceful, equipoised person who is factually advanced in spiritual consciousness does not need to accept the symbols of a sannyasi, such as the tridanda or kamandalu. That's the
stick.
Staff and the water pot.
I remember you told me the first time that you ever saw Rampat Swami.
So first time I ever saw a sannyasi was on the Lower East Side. I turned around the corner. He was just standing there holding a giant staff. To me, I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Why is he
I was
carrying that
18.
stick?
It was pre-internet. Why is he carrying a big orange stick around? And why is he dressed like that? And why does he have that bizarre
Why?
haircut? Why?
Okay.
The things we remember. A peaceful, equipoised. Although I did say that the first time I ever met devotees of Lord Krishna was in the Danbury, Connecticut YMCA in 8th grade.
All right.
Ever tell you that?
Yes, you
There were
did.
a bunch of ladies distributing books. And I went up to, I didn't know what they were. They were all wearing saris. I said, what are you guys? And they said to me, all I remember is they said they were vegetarians. And back then, it must have been like 1980 or 79. I was like, what is a vegetarian?
And what does it have to do with wearing that outfit that you have?
And she was just like, well, she's like, well, we don't eat meat. I was like, I couldn't even understand what that means. You don't eat meat. That's how different culture was back then. I was like, what do you eat? And I guess she was trying to humor me. She said, oh, we eat like lots of wonderful things like cookies and pie and ice cream.
How old were you?
I was like in 8th grade. I was like, this is insane. You are insane.
They're like
You
they're
eat
talking to you like you're a
cookies and
4-year-old
pie.
or something like that.
You eat
right?
cookies and pie. You're treating me like a child. But maybe she gave me some special mercy that I don't know
I
about.
bet she did.
You know, maybe she said, Hare Krishna, I pray for this kid.
I bet she did. That's the only reason why you're here right now, Raghunath.
You know what?
Woman.
Isn't it crazy that I met devotees in the middle of Danbury, Connecticut?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, continuing on.
So you didn't finish this one though. So they can accept the symbols of the staff and the kamandalu, the begging bowl.
Accordingly,
according
to necessity, they may sometimes accept those symbols and sometimes reject them.
Okay, it's external. It's not essential.
Yeah.
And that's that verse. It'll be a cliffhanger for today because that's the opening up the door to where we go tomorrow, where we hear about one such sannyasi, one person who had this consciousness, had this incredible detachment, had this super simple life, and had this deep, deep realizations, but didn't have the symbols of the sannyasi like the staff and the begging bowl. They were just lying on the ground like a python. That's tomorrow, Raghunath. You ready for that?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right. Mara?
Hi.
Hey, Mara. Back to
Sorry, it's
Mara.
hard for me to get in the picture.
There you go.
All right. I got some good stuff.
I bet you do.
Don't let social media arguments drain the bad.
Mara.
What's up?
I think that mic volume is like really loud. You're like blowing
Oh,
up.
really?
Yeah. Why don't you just keep it a little distant?
Okay. I think
Not
it's
too
fixed
much.
now. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Not your fault.
Don't let social media arguments drain the battery of spiritual focus.
Right.
Put your doubt on hold and take small steps forward.
Yeah.
Truth springs from arguments amongst friends.
That's a nice idea. Huh? Let's you and I argue a little bit more, Raghunath.
I think we should. I think it's healthy for us.
We don't want to blast or crush anyone. Empower and enlighten them.
There we go.
Yeah.
Leave your opponent an escape hatch.
Yep.
Oh, that's
I like
a nice
that.
idea.
I like that.
Even when you know you got him.
Even though when you got them, be
Leave
kind,
an
be
escape
humble.
hatch.
Don't crush them. What good is crushing them?
Sweet words and deep humility can change minds and hearts.
A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
There you
Benjamin
go.
Franklin.
Thank you. Dropping nuggets. And
We've got something better than clickbait.
You got something better. Thanks. And thanks to Dunya for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have Chant Camp August 30th through
September
2nd. Okay, that's good news. Me and Mary are going to be there. We're going to try to get Kastuva there too. And if you're interested in that, write Mara today. She'll see your email, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com for registration. It sells out every year, so if you want to come, register now. And looking forward to India with my man Kastuva and Miss Mara, wandering around the holy places of India. Wandering, like wandering
Kind of
beggars.
clueless.
What's that?
Kind of like clueless. Just everybody just wander.
Where are we going, Raghunath? I'm just wandering. No, we've got a very wonderful. Oh, you know what? Then I'm going to Nepal after, and guess what? Road Rage is coming to Nepal with me.
Road rage.
Road Rage.